of Mansakonko Area Council is hereby admitted in evidence and marked as LGC/SD/MKAC/004. A letter dated the 27th of December 2021 addressed to the Chairman, Finance Committee, Mansakonko Area Council, with the caption requesting for educational support. The said letter is written by CDK Ture, Chief Executive Officer of Mansakonko Area Council, and the said letter is copied to Chairman, Mansakonko Area Council, Director of Finance. The letter is admitted and marked as LGC/SD/MKAC/005.
As the Commission, please, we're grateful. Mr. Dibba, did you want to say something earlier?
Yes.
Okay.
I only want to clarify the establishment paper there.
Okay.
Okay. I'm the chairman of the finance subcommittee.
Yes.
And who double as a member of the establishment committee and the secretary.
You're the secretary of the establishment committee?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. That's why the paper is not marked finance subcommittee, but establishment.
Okay.
Yes, because I'm a member of the finance establishment committee.
Okay. So, about 25 people were supposed to go home from the list.
Yeah.
And then the list at the back is 11 people who were due for retirement.
That's fine.
Now, do you know whether the ones that were supposed to go on retirement were retired?
Well, most of them.
Most of them were retired.
Yeah.
What about the list that was supposed to go home?
Well,
So
most of them.
those are the ones that the CEO regularized their status.
Positions. Yeah, positions. Yes.
Wow. Okay. And then okay, so the CEO wrote, that's CD Ture, in his letter of 27 December 2021, said that he's undergoing a master's degree program at Subdeco University,
Yes.
and that he paid a certain amount and needed to pay 65,000. Okay, so this is the application that he made to your committee, and you granted
Yes.
the 65,000 or the 50,000 you had spoken about earlier?
Yes.
Which one? Earlier you had said it was 50,000, but this letter he's requesting 65,000.
Well, okay. The final matter finally rests in the hands of the education committee.
No, but I mean, how much was approved? Was it 50 or was it 65?
I cannot exactly remember the figure anyhow.
You can't remember.
No.
Okay. Now, in your statement, you talked about the conference center and the generation of revenue from the conference center. Were you aware about the privately sourced GTR books? So you know that when the council, when the revenue collectors are collecting money for the council,
Yes.
they issue a receipt from their GTR books, right?
Yes. Yes.
And you also know that those GTR books are provided for by government printers,
That's right.
right?
Yes.
So now, when the conference center was being set up, or when it was set up,
That's right.
there were GTR books that were provided, but they weren't printed by the government printers.
That's right.
Do you know that? You know about that?
Well, yes.
Okay, how do you know about that?
It was during my questioning time with the director of finance
Okay.
about this center. Because there was somebody posted there who is not a revenue collector.
Who's that?
Mohamed Dibba
Okay.
is not a revenue collector.
Okay.
So he was collecting money because we do go there for workshops and meetings. But he's the man in charge. He has his own receipt books.
Yes.
Then what I observed was when auditors are coming, all the names of the revenue collectors are written to them, given to them, and their books. So this man is not a revenue collector, and his books has never been accounted. Then I make inquiry from the finance manager. That was Sidisi.
Okay.
There he explained to me that this man's receipt book is not official.
Okay.
Yes. Then I went to the director of finance and posed the matter to him. Then it was there, we will change it, we will bring in another thing, then the thing has been dragging for years. Until finally, when we met to push a revenue collector there.
So who was the revenue collector that was put there?
Yes.
Who was the revenue collector that was put there?
Lamin Fati, if I
Lamin
can.
Fati.
Lamin Fati, yes.
Do you remember when you found out about the private books?
No. Cannot
The year?
I cannot remember.
Okay.
The
Now,
the private book started from the beginning of the opening of the center.
yes.
Yes.
But did you know about it before you went to the director of finance about it?
No, no, no.
Okay, because Pastor Cisse was here before and he said that it was an issue that went to the general council,
No, 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 no.
that they would be using separate books, especially for the conference center, because he wanted to do it in a different way.
No.
It was never brought to the council's attention?
No, no, no. It has never gone to the council to that level. I cannot remember attending that meeting. No.
So, okay, so the private revenue books were being used during Pastor Cisse's time.
Yes.
But then when CDK Ture came on board, the same thing continued, right?
Yes.
What was his explanation or justification for continuing to use those books?
Well, and I never confront him on that issue.
Did the issue come up at the General Council at all?
Well, okay, we have several meetings with the center manager. I have some copies of his letter here. You know, that somebody, a revenue collector, should be attacked for accountability and transparency.
Yes, I think
Yes,
so.
using the official receipt book. Receipts. So it has been dragging on for time. I don't know.
Okay. So why I'm asking whether it came up before the council is because these are revenue that are supposed to come to the council.
That's right.
And it seems as though the council is unaware of how much was coming in through the center. There was no auditing of those books, so you didn't know what was happening. So considering that the council is always trapped for cash, I'm wondering whether this issue came up before the general council and whether anything was done about it.
Well, the issue of knowing that was, you know, the director of finance, I think was the author of the receipt book.
He was what?
By Dibba Sala.
By Dibba Sala.
That's fine. Okay, it was later that we complained at a meeting, a council meeting, that now he knows nothing about the financial situation of the conference center now. So that means, to me, he was aware of before, But
Okay.
now things went out with him. That was the time when he complained to the council that he is now not aware of what is happening at the conference center.
But did he ever give a report about what was happening at the conference center before?
No, I cannot remember.
Do you remember maybe what year this meeting that you just spoke about was held?
Yes.
Do you remember the year?
This was, I think, 2020, 2021, 2022.
Okay, so it wasn't that long ago
Yeah, 20.
that he stopped being involved with the center.
Yes, 2021, something like 2021. Yes.
So, in respect of your responsibility with the council's finances, right? So the subventions and the car park dues that are paid to the council, are you informed every time that these payments are made?
Car park dues.
Car park dues, subventions,
Yes,
whatever
so, yeah,
grants?
when they come, the CEO would summon a meeting called the finance committee. Then whatever comes in, 1.5 million, 1.7, he would inform us. Then we will sit down, discuss on the issue. You see. Sorry for that.
That's fine.
Thank you.
So the CEO tells you how much came in.
Yes.
Does he ever provide you with the bank statements of the council?
No. In fact, he has never, anyhow. Sure.
Have you ever received a report of the council's expenditure and income over the year? Any year?
No, it's only when it comes to budgeting, then they prepare the budget. The CEO and the director of finance will prepare the budget, call the finance committee to scrutinize it, and then we know that this is what is budgeted for the council and payments for salaries and other payments. But
Okay.
we
So-
are never directly involved.
But do you know that the council is not supposed to spend any money outside of that budget that you've already approved?
Well, okay. You see, the point is, madam, we are never appointed with the act of the Local Government Act on the councils. So we hardly know what our responsibilities are, in fact. Because, when the books are there, you read them. But once you go there, there's no capacity building for councillors on these issues.
Does the ministry not provide any training
No, the ministry
or any
provides nothing.
sensitization?
Nothing. You have shown nothing. You see.
What about the Ministry of Finance?
The Ministry of Finance is the same. They provide nothing to the council for councillors to read or any member of the council. Even the directors or CEOs they don't even know their duties, most of them.
They don't what, sir?
They don't know their duties because they don't have the act.
But then the directors of finance.
Some of them act on experience.
Yes. So you have said that you don't have access to the books or the acts
Yes.
and the regulations.
Yes.
But the directors of finance and the CEOs that have come before the commission have said that they have access to those books
Well,
and those legislation and regulations. So they actually know what they're supposed to do.
Definitely, okay, fine. But then the councillors, we have no access to those books.
All right. So how are you able to tell when you're preparing or when you're scrutinizing the next budget, how do you know what exactly was spent? in the year before if you're spending outside of your budget?
Well, based on revenue proposals.
Based on what, sir?
Based on revenue proposals made during the past year, how much was collected, then we base our assumptions on those things.
Okay, so
Like tax 300,000 last year was projected, and then collected was 200 and something thousand, something like that. It's based on that.
so that's the tax that was collected, right?
Yes.
You don't get to see the council's bank statements, so you don't get to see how much was actually pumped in by the ministry or by central government.
No, hardly we have access to the council's financial statements, because there is no financial statement prepared during our whole term.
During your what?
Our term in office from 2018 to date, Mansakongo Area Council has never produced a financial account.
With all the how many directors of finance did you have during that period? You had Baiji Bisala, you had Ibrahima Jane,
Yes,
then you had Baiji Bisala.
yes, these are the two.
So neither of them provided statements for you?
No. Because anytime they go to the National Assembly, they are sent home.
Why is that?
Well, there's no financial statement.
Now, you talked about the audit report that you were shown, or that you requested. Before that period, were you ever provided with the audit reports for the council? Before 2020,
Yes,
when you requested for the audit report,
yes.
when the audit report comes, are you ever shown? Is the
No.
general council shown the report?
No.
Is the finance committee shown the report?
No.
But are you aware that the council is audited every year?
Well, okay, yes, because when the auditors come, we know that the auditors are there. But when they leave, that's the end.
So what prompted you to ask for that particular?
Audit report.
Yes.
Yeah, it is through conversation with my colleagues in the other councils that they have access to the audit report as finance committee members. So I feel that we should also have the same thing, equal right. That's why that was what assisted me to write to the CEO so that we could have access to and then know the burning issues.
So did they provide you with that report?
Yeah.
They did?
Yes.
Who provided you with it? Who gave it to you?
It was CD2.
CD Ture.
Yes.
And did the finance committee sit on that report?
Yes, we were invited by the auditors at the closing day. Not all the committees were there because some people live very far from Soma.
Okay.
But the few around were all there, and then we were all served the draft report.
Okay.
Yes, queries made. And we have been following this with them. The CEO, the Director of Finance, that the queries by the auditors be addressed.
So this was at the closing,
Yes.
right? Now, after that meeting, was there a general council meeting or a finance committee meeting on the report and what should be done?
No, I cannot remember.
So was any directive given to the CEO or the Director of Finance for them to sort out the queries?
Yes, I've been following them. I have been following them. Yes, especially the Director of Finance by Jibsala on queries by the auditors, some missing cash receipt books, transfers from Trust Bank to GT Bank, something like that, you know. And to my understanding, GT Bank was only for few people's salary who took loans from the GT Bank. So huge amount of money being transferred up and down. We cannot understand. So I put it to him to explain.
So up to the time that he was leaving the council, did he respond to any of these issues that you raised?
Yes.
Pardon?
What?
Up to the time that Bajibi Sala was leaving Mansakonko Area Council, did he
Yes.
respond to any of these issues that you raised?
Well, that's what he told me, that they are responding to the audit queries. But then whether they have done it or not, it's not confirmed. I cannot confirm it.
So what about the subsequent years? After that 2020 report, what about the audit report that came after that? Are you aware of that
No.
one? No?
I only knew that the auditors were there. But the time they were leaving, we were not invited.
Okay. Now, you said that in respect of the council's vehicles that they were selling, right? You said that you had offered to purchase the Volvo for $200,000. In your statement, so the beginning of page 2 of your statement, you said one Mr. Bojang also bought the Volvo, but the amount is unknown to me, even though the proceeds of the Volvo cannot be less than $200,000 because I offered this amount. However, the former CEO rejected my proposal. It wasn't sufficient for the value, and I am not of the knowledge of the beneficiaries of the other remaining vehicles.
That's right.
So you offered $200,000 to purchase the vehicle?
Yes.
Who did you offer it to?
Well, when we sat down to dispose these vehicles,
Okay, so this was at a meeting.
yes, and then I saw my interest to CEO that I want this vehicle.
Is that past it, Cisse?
But she said,
Okay.
yes. She said, how much do you offer? I said, 200,000. He said, no, we cannot sell it for that. So that was the end of the discussion.
So was this at a finance committee meeting or a general council meeting?
No, this was at the general council meeting.
General council meeting.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. Now, you also said that the committee requested the bank deposit slips to show that the payments for the vehicles were actually made.
The payment of the?
After the vehicles were sold,
Right.
the council said they didn't know how much was paid for them, right? And you requested that the bank deposit slips showing payment be provided.
Yes. I requested for that
Okay, who did you request it from?
from the director of finance.
That's Baji Bisala.
By Gisala.
Okay.
Yes. So he said they were paid into the council's account.
Okay.
I said, okay, then can you provide the finance committee with the bank slips? Because if you make payments, you must be given a slip.
Yes.
I say he has promised to do that, but at another meeting he has failed. So the tax was given to the CEO, Mr. Sidi Toure.
The who was given to CEO Sidi Ture?
Sidi Toure is the CEO.
Yes, you said what was given to him?
Then he said he could not stress any of this amount of money paid from the produce of the sale of the vehicles in any of the cash transaction bank account.
Sidi Ture said he couldn't find them.
Yes. He confirmed that these monies were not paid to the council's account.
Okay.
Mrs. Sane,
Mr. Dibba.
sorry, Sorry, I said Mr. Sani. Mr. Dibba, the establishment and finance joint committee meeting, which was held on the 4th of February 2022, is part of the documents you have submitted and we have admitted in evidence. What I want to find out is that the sum of 150,000 was earmarked for the maintenance of chairman's vehicle. Did you get that?
Yes.
Was the service done on the vehicle?
Well, up till now, the building is still there. There was no maintenance anyhow on it.
The what?
The chairman's quarter is still there. There was no maintenance on it.
I did not get it. Can you speak into the mic, please?
I said, okay, the chairman's building.
Vehicle.
Oh, chairman's vehicle.
Yes, motor vehicle, yes.
Yes.
In the minutes of the 4th of February 2022,
Right.
it was a joint meeting between the finance and the establishment committee members.
That's right.
And the sum total of 150,000 was earmarked for the servicing of the chairman's vehicle. Was that done?
Yes.
It was done.
Yeah.
For servicing.
Yes.
Now, was that a council vehicle or the chairman's own personal car?
Okay. It was not a council's vehicle.
It was whose vehicle?
The chairman's personal vehicle.
Was there any resolution?
Well, okay. From our inquiries at the meeting, the CEO said he had an agreement with the chairman in the use of his vehicle because the council's vehicle had a breakdown. So it was during that period that the chairman's own vehicle also had a breakdown. So the matter was brought to the council's meeting to maintenance the vehicle. That was how we did to, then the feeder, the mechanician was called, then put up his invoice to, I don't know, 100 and something thousand.
150,000.
Yeah, and then it was approved and given to him, I don't know.
Yes, what you said is contrary to what was discussed, because the CEO in that same meeting said something different. What he said was that there should have been a contract between the chairman for the usage of his private car.
Yes.
Is that not the case? Is that
Yes.
not what transpired?
Yes.
So it would not be correct to say that it was the CEO and the chairman that agreed, because the chairman reported in that meeting that there should have been a contract and it should have been approved by council in the first place for him to use his vehicle so that he would be entitled for the council to be able to repair the car. Is that not what was said?
Yeah, all right. The use of the chairman's vehicle.
No, I'm asking first, is that not what was said in that meeting?
No.
That was not what was said.
Okay, what I'm trying to explain is there was no meeting held
Okay.
that discussed on the use of the chairman's personal vehicle.
Okay.
I cannot remember that. We only saw him using, even the former CEO, Sidisi, was using his own private car, NBR something. You see. So when this car had the breakdown, it was a big argument, pull and pulling at the council meeting, because there was no agreement document.
That is what I'm putting to you.
Yes.
I'm saying that the CEO was saying he was raising concern about repairing the car, which is not a council car, for the sum of 150,000 just for routine maintenance, which was to him on the high side, right?
Yes.
And he indicated that there was no documentation or agreement
That's
to
right.
that effect.
Yeah.
Is that not what the CEO said at the meeting?
Yes.
All right. And now it was Mr. Sedikan, Mr. Nafamara Sedikan of Jabadama Ward also lamented that they should have learned from their past experience when they purchased the Volvo which costed them nearly $500,000, and within 3 months it developed problems and they have to spend extra money to repair it. What was the take of the council on this issue?
About the chairman's vehicle, Volvo.
Volvo, yes. Because Nafamara made some statements. Can you elaborate on what were the issues that
Well,
he has to remind the meeting? Because remember, it is the establishment and the finance that was meeting, not the council.
Well, as far as I could remember, it was at this meeting that the CEO, Sidisi, informed the councillors that they have seen a vehicle to buy, a Volvo, and it belongs to a friend of the chairman's friend's car. Okay, he first said 600,000, then they finally agreed on 450,000. But they are bringing the car for inspection by the councillors. But this never happened. We only saw the car MKHC1 finished. That's to the best of my knowledge. How all the other transactions took place, I don't know. I'm not aware of it.
No, the issue I want you to clarify for us is that after spending that money, within 3 months, they have to spend other substantial amount in the repairs of the car. that is what Nafamara, the Jadama Ward, was raising as his concern. Councillor of Jadama Ward.
Well, Madam, all that I can say is the sales of those two vehicles, the chairman's vehicle, the CEO's vehicle at 300,000, do not take the due process.
Thank you.
Right, because the chairman's, the CEO's car, Pajero sports car, was bought at $300,000. He went to collect the car. On his way coming, he had a breakdown at Somita, where we have to spend another money to take it back to the garage. Imagine buying a car for 300,000, and you are coming to bring it to the council, and he had a breakdown on the way. So like the Volvo served not in more than 3 months, 4 months, something like that.
Thank you. Council, you may proceed.
So, Mr. Dibba, further to the questions that I was asking you about when the monies for car park dues come in, etc. Mr. Noperi Jane, he tendered some documents to the Commission. One of these documents is a letter dated 1st September 2018, and it's a warning letter that you wrote as chairman of the Finance Subcommittee to the CEO of Mansakonko Area Council. So I'll just read the letter, and then you can tell us about it. So it says, Sir, referring held on 14th August 2018, where the councillors were informed of the sum of 1,223,624.89 bututs was transferred to council's account as car park dues. The Finance Subcommittee was never informed until you have made all your allocation without informing the Finance Subcommittee. The Finance Subcommittee is therefore putting it to you that you have no mandate or right to do that without consulting the Finance Subcommittee. The Finance Subcommittee needs not tell you what you should do as CEO. The Finance Subcommittee is therefore warning you in the strongest term to avoid such mistake. If it occurs, then you must be ready for any consequences, and you may end up with the Finance Subcommittee to the highest level, and we are ready for it, come what may. So that was the gist of the warning letter. Now, what was that about? Did the CEO spend the money without telling you, or did he just not inform you that the money came?
Well, no, okay, what happened was, when we took over, as I was explaining to you, because there were no books of account at the Act for councillors to know their rights as finance chairman, as establishment chairman.
Okay.
So normally when monies come, like car park dues, subventions from the government, we were never informed. We were never informed. All that you will know is at the meeting, okay, the 1,500,000 came, and then this is how we spend it. Then that's the bottom line.
But I've noticed throughout the Finance Subcommittee meetings, that seems to be what happens.
Yes.
The CEO will come and tell you this amount came,
Yes.
and this is how we're going to spend it.
Yes, we have done this, we have reserved this for salaries, this is for
Yes.
that borehole, this is for that. Finish.
So it does not appear that you actually discuss
The finance committee is never personally involved at those meetings.
So you
So
just
that's-
endorse what the CEO says?
Yeah, that was when I've come to know that it is our right to know whatever is happening with the council's finance situation. Then that was the time when I wrote to him. And from then, we were informed.
Yes, so I'm saying you were informed, but you did not make any decisions about how the money was spent.
No.
So there's another finance committee meeting held on the 26th of March 2019, where the CEO said that $1.6 million was received being quarterly payment for car park dues. And he said out of that amount, $300,000 was paid to Trust Bank, being overdraft taken by the council to pay salaries. And he said that you were left with a balance of $1.3 million. So when we had gone through the bank statements with the CEO, we realized that it was actually $1,975,000 that was paid into the council's account, not $1.6 million as he had told you. So how, as the finance committee, how do you verify what comes in and what goes out?
This, as I'm just telling you, we were never shown. I think the proper channel should be, this is the receipt or the slip from the subvention paid to the council, to the finance committee. Then we know that this is the exact amount that was brought in. But verbally, we just go there, say, this is what has come, then finish, period.
So my difficulty is that the finance committee never asks for these documents.
No, definitely. We have never asked for the documents, actually.
So at this meeting, the CEOs broke down what he considered as urgent payments to be effected from the remaining $1.3 million. And among that was purchasing of a new vehicle for $300,000, stationery of $150,000, salary $346,000, chairman's furniture, complete payment $100,000, Galga $30,000, NAWEC $100,000, ward projects $420,000. Oh, educational trust fund $100,000. And that's how he proposed that this amount be spent.
These are ready-made things brought to the council It was
Yes.
already done.
He's already spent it.
Yeah, he does it by himself. Then he brought it to the finance committee. This is what I have done. Then he reads out with the money finished.
So
We were never involved directly in the site. They would do it, then finally he would be called just for formality sake. This is what has come and this is what we have, what I have decided to do.
So if that is the case, why do you allow him to come and give you these figures? Because the whole purpose of bringing it before your committee is so that you approve it.
Yes.
So if he's doing something that you know that is wrong, and he brings it to you and you approve it, he's gotten the blessing from your committee.
Yeah, to be very candid, we never knew that he should not have done it behind us.
I'm sorry, you're saying that you never knew he shouldn't have done it?
Yes. You see?
That you shouldn't have done it?
Yeah. Otherwise, we would have taken action, as I've written to him, to give me a warning letter.
So let me ask you as well. So these are all issues that arose during Pastor Cise's time.
Yes.
Now, one of the meeting minutes that you provided us with, for a meeting, there's joint committees meeting of finance and contract held Tuesday, 13 September 2022. So you had a new CEO at that time, all right? You had CD Keture.
CDK Ture, yes.
Now, at that meeting, you were discussing the financial situation of the council.
Yes.
He said before the payment, he said before the overall salaries, he said before the payment of salaries, the council only had $100,000 balance at the bank. And this compelled them to take an overdraft of $400,000 to pay staff salaries of August 2022. Before this, was it normal to be taking staff overdrafts for council salaries?
Before that,
So this is 2022.
2022.
CD Ture is informing the committee that he had to take, the council's bank balance was $100,000.
Yes.
So he didn't have enough money to pay salaries for August 2022. And this has compelled them to take an overdraft for $400,000 to be able to pay staff salaries for August.
That's right.
Was this the first time that he was taking overdrafts to pay salaries?
No. We have been on overdraft for years, since our time.
Since your time?
Yeah, since from 2018.
Okay.
2018, since we came to office. The council has been on overdraft. Sometimes we go up to $600,000, $700,000.
Just for staff salaries?
Yes, to pay salaries.
No. Sorry.
Now, it seems that Mr. Sedikan complained to your committee.
Mr.
Mr. Sedikan, Nafamara Sedikan. Yes, he is part of the committee. He's a councillor for Jadama Ward.
Mfamara Sedikan.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. He queried the CEO for asking you to approve taking 500,000 as overdraft, because he said that 500,000 is equivalent to 6 million for the yearly payment of salary in 2020.
That's right.
Right?
Yes.
And he also informed your committee of the fact that you don't collect revenue. Your revenue collection is not even up to 10 million. Now, my question is, when you how did you arrive at the budget for 2020, given the sum total of what your projected income was? How did you come to that budget figure as the chair of the finance committee, subcommittee?
For 2020.
Yes.
Well, Ma, as I just tell you, these things were all prepared and then readily brought to the finance subcommittee for only formalities, maybe formal approval. But it was all calculated by the CEO and the Director of Finance in our absence. We were never present at these meetings. These are prepared and then brought to us.
So when they bring these documents, you don't ask questions, you just approve?
Would it?
I said, when they bring these documents to you, you just approve?
Well, this is what we can do because we have no experience in it.
Okay.
So,
And they will not also provide you with any supporting documents to show
that this is how they come to reach to this.
to arrive at.
No. Oh.
And you don't ask them also these documents?
No.
You don't?
No.
All right, thank you.
Mr. Dibba, I have seen some minutes here of the Finance and Contracts Committees. I've gone through your agenda for those meetings, and what I have noticed is that in all of these meetings, the council or your committee was never shown or was never presented with the financial statements of the council. Is that something deliberate on the part of the management of the council, or you not knowing that when you have such meetings, an updated position of the council's finance should be made known to you as a committee? And the financial statements, most crucially, should have a reconciled statement of account, the cash book and the bank balance. At least you should have that, to know whether you are not indebted, you've given checks that are not being honored, or wanting to do X, Y, and Z. Do you understand what I'm trying to get at?
Yes.
Okay, please answer.
Okay, thank you very much, Joanna. Well, from 2018 to 2019, there was a director of finance named Ibrahim Ajani, who was responsible, but he has never produced, because he has written to some of these revenue collectors to bring in their books for audit inspections, of which most of them failed up to the time of his leaving. Then a new director of finance came in, that is by Dibba, who took over from Mr. Jani. But then in my presence, he was told to follow up the cash book, the ledgers, to be able to produce a final statement. But then, to my surprise, this man, by Dibba, said he is not going to use the cash book. He's going to use his laptop. Finally, after 3 months, I went to inspect his books. I called the CEO, Pashet Sise, that what this man is doing, I have very little knowledge in account, but you cannot go without the cash book, because it's from the cash book to the ledgers, then the journal, then you can produce your final balance sheet. But the way he is entering, his books. I had a bitter argument with the CEO, Pastor Sidisi, over the issue. But 4 months later, he has discovered that what I was telling him is the truth. Then he wrote a letter to the Ministry of Local Government for this man's incompetency and to be removed. So since then, there was nothing. At one point, I put a pressure on him to produce, because they were sent home from the National Assembly 2 times from failing to produce a final bank statement. So, he has no experience in it, the bottom line.
This is water under the bridge, but as chairperson of the Contracts and Finance Committee, if you notice that the National Assembly have sent home the council for not preparing or giving the financial status of the council, wouldn't that occur to you to, they always talk about resolution was passed. Resolution was passed. Couldn't you, as chairman, try to pass a resolution for his withdrawal of service of the incompetent, as you have said, Director of Finance?
Well, no, I'm not saying that he's incompetent. I say from past letter, that CEO's letter to the ministry.
Yeah.
All right, because actually this man, Bai has very little knowledge about the cash book. If he has any, it's very little, limited.
Okay.
Of the cash book. That's why we were in that mess.
Okay.
And then his subordinates, the finance manager, the senior revenue collectors, they all have no knowledge of the cash book.
Can I ask you a personal question?
Personal?
Yes.
Okay.
If this was a business that you own,
Yes.
would you still would have left that person as accountant and clerk, financial clerk, running your business for you?
No.
Thank you.
Mr. Dibba, do you really think that you've done your best? Do you really think that you have done your best as chairman of the Finance Committee?
Do I really
Think, yes,
that I have done
your best
my best?
as chairperson of the Finance Committee?
Finance Committee. I could have done more than what I have done, if only I'm so acquainted to the act of the council.
That's where I'm heading to.
Yes.
Because the first thing is you cannot play a game without knowing the rules.
Rules, that is it.
And it was your responsibility to look for the act that guides your terms of reference.
That's right.
Once you don't have that, that is where you lost it.
Yeah, this is it. Thank you very much.
So the entire responsibility cannot be blamed on Pajibu Salah's incompetence and other things. You have an oversight function to carry out. And you cannot carry oversight functions without knowing what your mandate is. This is the problem. So what you end up doing, you start getting into day-to-day running of the council, which is not your job. This is what happened. It's entirely a management crisis. Do you agree to that?
That's right.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Mr. Dibba, so we were comparing, or we were going through what happened on the Patse Cise's tenure and what's happening on the CD K-Toure's tenure. Now, at the same meeting that we were talking about, September 2022, 13 September 2022, says he disclosed last week the government paid $1.5 million to Mansakonko Area Council account as grant. And out of the amount transferred, facility was deducted by the bank, and $35,000 of fuel arrears was also paid from the amount, and also some petty expenditures were deducted, leaving a balance of $1,077,445.50 at the bank. So that's an amount of over 400,000 that was used. Some of it on petty expenditure. Do you ever query what the petty expenditure and how much it was that the bank took? That amounted to over $400,000.
No.
That never came up.
Ma-
Also, at that same meeting, Farmer Sedikan pointed out that, he said, Mr. Farmer Sedikan lamented that before CEO Ture came to the council, the finance committee was collecting significant amount of revenue, but at the moment, things are not tracking as desired. He said during their collection exercise with the revenue collectors, they collected nearly $1 million in 2019. From the entirety of that meeting, so Mr. Farmer Sedikan indicated that when duty tickets were $5, Brewing Lumo collects $10,000 on Lumo days. And now that the tariff has increased to $10, still the Lumo days collection does not exceed $10,000. He said there may be leakages somewhere because they should now collect more than $10,000 on a Lumo day. Councillor Sedikan urged the CEO to monitor collectors, otherwise the council would lose out on revenue. From the entirety of that sitting, it appears that the council is worse off when CEO CDK Ture came than it was when it was under Passet Cisse's head or leadership. Would you say that that's an accurate statement?
No.
No?
It was September 2023. I was not a councillor.
No, this is September 2022. 2022.
Yes. Yeah, okay, fine. Well, definitely I cannot remember that. I cannot remember.
It's attached to your statement.
You sure?
It's one of the meeting minutes that's attached to your statement.
Attach my statement.
Yes. Registrar, can you assist him, please? 13th September 2022.
Council,
Sure.
may I just inform the witness, the statement, the minute you are referring to, according to what we have, he was the only one who signed these minutes. The other two, Boa Kinte and CDK Ture, did not sign.
Yeah, right.
So I'm not so sure whether it is, or why was that? Is that he was the only one. The minutes prepared by Boa Kinte, Boa did not sign. The chairman of the contracts committee, CDK Ture, did not sign. He only signed that document because he was chairman of the contracts and finance committee.
When he identifies it, we'll ask him. The portion I referred you to is on page 3, from the second paragraph going down.
Yeah. Where it is said, Mfamara Sedikan lamented that before CEO Ture come to the council, the finance committee was collecting significant amount of revenue, but at the moment, things are not tackling as desired. He said during their collection exercise with the revenue collectors, they collected nearly $1 million in 2019. Okay, all right, yes, yeah, he is referring to 2019 collections. Okay, when we came to the council in 2018, we discovered that there were a lot of frauds in the field, that the council is not collecting the correct revenue expected of them by the revenue collectors. So what I did was, I summoned a meeting with the CEO that as from now, when these revenue collectors, after your assessment, when these revenue collectors are going for collections, they be accompanied by 2 members of the finance committee to witness the collection. Because we would go to a shop where you are supposed to pay 10,000. Then when these revenue collectors go there on their own, they compromise the situation. At the end of the day, they would end up paying 3,000, 4,000. But once you were there is nothing you can do. They would just be read to your shop, this is what you are charged, yes, pay it. Then they pay it to the revenue collector. That was what raised, because we did that for almost 2 months. Then we were able to collect $565,000. And before that, the total revenue collected was between 225,000 to 235,000. That's for the whole year. But during this exercise, we were able to collect 2 months, we were able to collect 565,000, and that is half of the revenue, business line, because a lot of them were not collected. For the simple fact that the CEO said if we collect all, by October, September, when this money exhaust, then they would have nothing to collect in the field. So we only collect half. That amounts to 565,000. Then the balance was left to them. Then I was never involved anymore. Just to prove them that, the collectors were doing something in the field.
Now, Mr. Dibba, why would the CEO say that you suspend collection? My question is, why would the CEO tell you and the collectors to suspend collection? Because come September, July, August, September, they will have nothing to collect. Was there no budget prepared that would guide the expenditure of the council?
Well, I cannot explain that, but then we were stopped. We were stopped by this, he has the executive powers.
Okay, that is the CEO.
Yes.
All right, thank you. Council.
Mr. Dibba, Commissioner Joyner pointed out that the minutes for this meeting that we're looking at was signed by only you. It wasn't signed by Boa Kinte, who prepared it, and it wasn't signed by CDK today, the chairman of the Contracts Committee. Can you tell us why you're the only person who signed the minutes?
Okay, to answer that, yes. To answer that is, there is a clerk. There is somebody responsible of writing these things. That is
Okay.
Mr. Buakinte. So I am not staying in Soma. I am staying in Quinala. Then he said, before I go, let me sign this. Then when he is ready, they would also sign. So I only sign and then leave the whole thing with them. I'm not the author of the writing.
You know the word?
Not the author.
Okay.
The author, yes. I did not write it. It's written by Buakinte. And he should sign it because he wrote the paper. And then it was witnessed by Sidi Ture. So they should all sign. I don't know why they failed to sign.
Okay. There's also an issue of underpayment, well, not underpayment, that the council have not collected tax liabilities from certain businesses. And they listed them as Tendabaka, $191,000, Arezki, $106,000, Gamsel, $200,000, Kutas Lodge, $35,000, FFHC, $76,000, MRC, $90,000, and Comium, $430,000. So those 7 businesses together owed the council $1,128,000. But I note that the debtor with the highest amount, which was Comium, the CEO said that Comium are currently undergoing financial difficulties, but anytime the situation promises, council will urge them to pay their liability. I'm trying to understand why the CEO will be defending Comium to the committee when they owe you $430,000, and how does he know about their financial difficulties?
Well, same. The CEO, we were only called to a meeting where these things were read to us. It's not a meeting that we were called to discuss on, but to inform us that this is the outstanding balance owed to the council. So there we have very little or nothing to do. If we were called to a meeting to discuss on it, then we would have find out ways and means of how we can recover this thing.
But
then,
when it was brought up at the meeting, you didn't discuss how to recover it.
recover it. Well, the only thing they said they're going to write to them a demand note. So
Do you know why the council does not take people to the district tribunal for debts owed?
no.
Do you know that the council can do that?
Whether they can do that.
You can take matters to the district tribunal to deal with, especially these debtors that you have.
Yes, I could remember they've taken one businessman, the proprietor of Nema Shoe, Almamo Dibba. I think one time he refused to pay. As I was just saying, you know, he was charged and then he said he cannot pay it until they end up at the court, and then he was forced to pay. They can do that.
So you know that they can do that. So
They can do it, yes.
what has been the reason why the council has not been doing that? Because everybody has only called one person who was taken to the tribunal.
Maybe the CEO and the Director of Finance can explain that. I definitely have no idea about that, definitely.
I'm asking because the council seems to consistently be in debt, right? You're always taking out overdrafts to pay salaries. This is just 7 business owners that owe you over $1 million.
That's right.
And that's a substantial amount compared to what you collect every day or every year even.
Yeah.
Has the committee ever written to the ministry or the Local Government Service Commission to request that your CEO or your Director of Finance be removed?
I cannot remember it, no.
Because it seems like you all have issues with your CEO and your Director of Finance, but you
Yeah.
just grumble about it.
That's it, yes.
Nobody does anything about it.
Yes, yes, definitely.
Mr. Dibba, please speak into the mic so that we hear your response. What is your response? I did not get that.
Okay, thank you very much.
Yes.
Thank you.
So what is your response to her question?
Well, I think, you see, as I just been saying, it's the same. We have very little knowledge of the role of the CEO and the Director of Finance. You see, so they always is ready-made things brought to us. Whatever is to be discussed, they discuss it at the management level, then we are only called to be informed of.
Yes.
Okay. So another point on that, on the agenda for that meeting was a discussion on 30% payment of salaries by the council as the government pronounces. So the CEO indicated that the chairman attended a meeting where the issue of 30% to be effected by councils commencing September 2022. He said he brought the agenda in the meeting so that the finance committee members can bless it. Now, did you see any minutes of any meeting
No,
where this 30% was proposed?
no, no, no.
Did the central government, through the ministry or the Ministry of Lands or the Ministry of Finance, write to you telling you that you're supposed to increase your salaries by 30%?
Well, we were informed by the chairman that he had a meeting with the permanent secretary, the minister. Then he would make a follow-up. But then since up to the time of I left the place, nothing absolutely happened.
But then the finance committee blessed the payment of 30% increase by salaries.
Right. No.
Did you check whether the council was in a position to pay these amounts? Because as it was, you couldn't afford the salaries that you were paying, and then you agreed to increase the salaries by 30%.
Well, I think it's only the Director of Finance who can say whether the council is financially strong to pay down this 30% increment.
Yes, but that's what I'm saying. Did you
Yes.
check? Because you already knew that salaries were an issue. At this same meeting, you were discussing overdrafts that were taken to pay salaries. So you already know that you don't have the money to pay salaries.
Yes, that's
but
right.
you're increasing salaries by 30%.
That's right. Well, I think the Director of Finance made arrangements at the bank for overdraft
Yes.
to meet the salaries. So we are not talking of the increment, but the former salaries. Whether those ones would be they will be able to pay that instead of increasing the increment of 30%.
So do you think that, so the 30% increment, assuming that it was sanctioned by the ministry, if the ministry would not pay that salary, right? The salary does not come out of central government.
Yes.
It comes out of your pockets. If the ministry told you, increase your salaries by 30%,
Yes.
and you know that you don't have the money, would you not discuss it with the ministry? I mean, your committee is in charge of the finances of the council. Would you not discuss it with the ministry to figure out, explain that you're already in problems, and try to figure out how, whether this 30% increase is feasible, and if it is, how do you go about it? But there was nothing like that. You just agreed to increase salaries.
We can do that, but even the subvention the government is paying to the council does not come at the right time. Sometimes it will be 2-3 months late. So
But-
under such circumstances, it's just the same. When you go there, they will tell you, maybe they may say that there is no money. So all that we can do is to go for our draft.
So you understand that the subvention from the government is not so that you pay salaries.
Yes.
You understand that the council does not exist just to pay salaries.
Yes.
If that is the case, it shouldn't matter when the government subvention comes vis-a-vis the salaries of the staff of the council.
What cannot be helped must be enjoyed. This is it. Without money, and then there is money that comes from the subventions, we have to use it to pay salaries. Otherwise, there will be noise at the council.
How many development projects has, excuse me, at the back? Thank you. How many development projects has the council done out of its own money? Out of the money that is collected from the people in Mansakonko?
We dig boreholes, repair roads.
The road projects are from the Mansakonko Area Council's money?
Yes.
Which road project?
We maintenance roads during the rainy season. We provide boreholes for people.
So the maintenance is like petty works, right? Small works.
No.
They're major works?
Major ones. No, the council cannot take major road construction because of the financial situation of the council.
That's my point. You can't do development because you don't have money.
Money,
but you
yes.
can increase salaries and you don't have money.
Yes.
So if you're going to take overdrafts for salaries, why don't you take overdrafts for development instead?
No.
It seems that the council's priority is only on paying salaries.
Yeah, we prioritize things.
Exactly. So development is why you exist.
Yes.
So you would prioritize development,
Yes.
not salaries.
No, we prioritize the salaries, not the development first.
And do you think that, or do you believe that that is what is supposed to happen?
No, that's not what should be done. But sometimes what I'm just saying is what cannot be helped.
But Mr. Dibba, I wouldn't agree that it can't be helped,
No,
because
the
you
point-
have powers, and you know that the ministry is in charge of your council overall. You know that if you have issues, you need to go to the ministry. You cannot say that you can't be helped if you haven't gone to the people that should help you. If you've gone and they do not help you, that's another matter entirely, but at least you would have done your part.
That's right.
But you haven't done that. Have you?
No, it's an oversight then.
I see. When did your mandate end? Yours? With the council, or are you still with the council?
No, I'm not still in the council.
When did you stop being with the council?
June 2023.
June 2023. Okay. I don't know whether the commissioners have questions.
Mr. Dibba, can you explain to us the process of land allocation by the council that has been done by the council?
To be very frank, I have very little knowledge about the land transaction, the conference center, the new market, and the opposite. So it only comes to the meeting by the CEO that we want to buy this, we want to this, but we are negotiating with the landowners.
No,
So
I
at
am,
the
I am
end-
not, I am not talking, I'm not referring to purchase, I'm referring to allocation, land allocation by the council.
No, I have no knowledge about that.
You've never?
No.
Huh?
No knowledge.
You don't have any knowledge.
Anything about that.
Okay,
yes.
let me just refer you to the minutes, finance, your minutes for the 17th of March 2021. And did you recall the CEO briefing you on Danlo Bajavi paying for deposit for land allocation at that meeting?
Yes.
And also Karamba Jabi.
Jabi, yes.
So can you explain to us the land allocation process at the country?
No, he did not go into detail.
Sorry?
He did not go into detail at the meeting. I cannot remember that. But it was said at the meeting, and he said he's making arrangements with them. So how he ends up with them, I have no idea.
But were you aware that the council had land that it was selling and allocating to people? Were you aware of that fact?
Yes. You see, the point is, you will be aware of many things at the council, but at the end of the day, how they end up, you cannot even, because you will not be informed.
Yes.
Most of these things cannot be done in the absence of the finance subcommittee. But we were never informed.
Yes, the reason why, Mr. Dibba, the reason why we ask is to ascertain this, because at no time did we come across the fact that the council allocates land. What we have come across is that the council purchased a piece of land, 1 or 2. I stand to be corrected. But for the allocation, it's a different thing. And this is a document you attach with your statement. And these were minutes of meeting held, of which you were part of. Or you were not part of this meeting?
No, because I mean, that story buildings there, you see, we inherited them there. We found them there. It was before our time.
Yes, but
Those lands were allocated to different people. Q group around the market side. It all belongs to the council, but they were all sold out.
by the council?
By the council, yes, by the former, yes.
Were there any records showing how much land the council owned, how
No.
much was
No,
sold, and how much is remaining?
You will never know, because there are no documents. It was
There are
not
no documents.
there was no proper documentation to read.
So what is the situation about this Danlo Bajabi and Karamba Jabi? Were they finally allocated land, or
No, definitely, I have no idea.
you have no idea?
No idea.
So you have also stated that there was suppression of tax collected. You said the Bureng Lumos, before the increment of the fees, they were collecting daily about 10,000. And after the increment of the fees from $5 to $10, they were still at 10,000. What can you tell us about that? Was it a scenario of collectors collecting money and using it and suppressing, not paying to the bank or paying to the CEO or the finance director the exact?
Well, Lumo collections, the collectors they are not senior revenue collectors.
They are not?
Senior revenue collectors,
Okay.
like Ansumana Sar, Lamin Balde, and others. They deployed revenue collectors there, some of them even up to my 5 years term in office. I don't even know their names, as chairman of the finance subcommittee. So they go there and collect. When they come, most of them give it to the CEO until it was paid to the CEO, most of them, during that time. When I wrote a letter to all the revenue collectors that they should submit their money to pay to the bank. You see? So that was the time when we start know, and then we should have the information from the internal auditor, who should supply us with that information.
Up to the time you left, the revenue collection at the Lumos did not improve.
Yeah?
I said up to the time you left
Yes,
the council,
yes,
the revenue collection,
yes.
the revenue that has been collected from the Lumos did not improve.
Well, maybe but I cannot say anything about it.
You are not sure.
Yeah, I cannot because,
You don't have any data to.
no, because I don't deal with them directly. I only hear on revenue collectors from report from audit finish.
Okay. Council, are you done?
I actually just had two questions for the witness. I'll just go through them quickly.
Yes. Yes.
Mr. Dibba, at that same meeting, it says that the contracts committee consented for the restaurant at the conference center to be outsourced to Mrs. Ndai Sise Sanyang. Do you know who that person is?
Then she said yes.
Who is she?
Yes. She's a restaurant owner at the council's building.
At the council's building.
Building, yes.
So you just decided to pick her?
And she was a councillor as well.
She was a councillor at that time.
Yes. She was representing the business community.
Okay.
Yeah,
And
she
is she a member of any of these committees that you?
Yes, she's a member of the one of the committees, yes, either establishment or education.
So, who decided that she should get the canteen?
Who decided?
That she should be given the canteen at the conference center?
Well, okay, we have at the conference center, we should have a restaurant.
Yes.
Okay, then it was, according to the CEO, it was put to tender.
It was put to tender, according to the CEO.
CEO, yes. And I think only 3 people applied.
Okay.
Okay, 3 people applied. So what the finance committee here considered is we went to see these 3 places. But to be very frank with you, to the best of my knowledge, this restaurant is one of the highest, the best quality. And if from this restaurant, that the council, with all our meetings and everything, provides us with the food. So when it comes to giving out council's chicken, we recommended that it be given to Ndai.
Didn't they participate in the tender?
Ndai.
Yes.
She participated
In the tender. The bid that you said the CEO told you that it was open to tender, that the 3 people participated in. Was she one of those people?
No.
So what happened to the 3 that actually participated?
Well, the thing is, at the end of the day, what we put into consideration is...
Could you speak into the mic, please?
What we put into consideration was, the devil you know is better than the devil in the bush. So this is how the criteria we use.
Mr. Dibba,
Right.
you know that there are procurement rules, right?
Yes.
And you know that that's why you had the tender, assuming that that tender actually happened, that's why you had it. If she would know that there are procurement rules. If she wanted to participate, she would have participated. But what you have done is ignored the procurement laws, the rules, and chosen somebody because you know them, which is exactly what procurement is avoiding. if she wanted to get the contract, she would have bid with the other bidders, paid the fees that were required to be paid, provide whatever she needed to provide.
Well, okay, fine, that's correct.
So your committees are also part of the problems of the council.
Well, it was, well, we take it that way, as our fault.
Do you know whether Sidi Ture has a business?
Whether
Sidi Ture.
city
K Ture, the CEO, do you know whether he has a business?
business,
Yes. Does he run a business?
well, not to my knowledge.
Do you know whether his only employment is with the council?
No idea.
Do you know if the revenue collectors have been paying monies into his account?
To his account.
Yes.
It could, but I'm not aware of it.
You're not aware of it?
No.
Okay.
No.
That's all for this witness.
Okay. Just a question. With respect to Ndayisise's issue, we understand that you said the devil you know is better than the devil you don't know. So just to reconfirm, it was the committee made a discussion for her to pay 5,000 as rent per month for the restaurant. So it was your decision as the committee for her to pay 5,000 per month for rent.
Yes,
Is that correct?
yes.
All right. So,
But before that, we went to and inspect the 3 places.
yes, we understand. You have said
Okay,
that.
fine, that's right.
And you have also clearly stated the reason as to why you felt that you made a good decision. We will take the evidence.
Fine, thank
Yeah,
you.
Thank you.
Right.
And any other questions? So just a final question. You did not have the opportunity to look at the financial manual, the Finance and Audit Act. All of these documents were not provided for you
No,
by the CEO,
No.
Passet,
no,
and the chairman.
yes.
So, Mr. Dibba, we will discharge you, and when we need to call you back to clarify certain issues, we will call you to do so.
Thank you very much.
All right? And we
Yes.
have asked you certain things, so please cross-check and
No, I have produced all that too.
you have given
Yes,
them.
I've given them to you.
Yes, we already tendered the documents that he
Oh,
provided.
okay. All right. So thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
We may rise.